So Benjamin Akakpo there with that interaction with Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante Enchi, former chairman of the Peace Council, and he says he's rating the Electoral Commission some 65%. Is that a C or that's a B plus or something like that? But he believes actually that we're going to have one of the smoothest elections this year, 2020. We'll keep our fingers crossed and we continue to preach peace. Now, let's talk about identifying fake news, which is really important, crucial, particularly at this time, which will also be very useful on election day because already people are throwing things about. So what happens on Monday when you begin to see all those things? Either people saying they've won, somebody saying this thing has happened somewhere. How do you identify what is true and what is not? That's our next conversation. Joining me via Zoom for this is Dr. Abena Yeboah Benin. She's head Department of Communications at the University of Ghana. Very good morning to you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time. If you can kindly unmute, then we can hear you.
Yes, am I being heard now?
Yes, we can hear you. So thank you.
Good morning to you and good morning to the viewers.
Great. All right, so I like what you're doing, and it's timely as well with identifying fake news around this period ahead of Monday. Explain exactly what you're doing.
Okay, so what the Department of Communication Studies of the University of Ghana, with the kind help of some organizations, what we are doing is to get Ghanaians and especially young people who are voting on Monday to become a bit more circumspect how they engage with information in the days leading up to the election. We are in an era where we are overwhelmed by information, not all of which is true. And sometimes we become unduly vulnerable because of the kinds of information we consume, especially in the social media environment. And I lay emphasis on that because when we go into the social media environment, there aren't gatekeepers, there aren't mediators. The information lands in somebody's head, it's been posted. Unlike the stories you carry here on Joy News, where your editors would have sieved the information to make sure, is it valid, is it true, am I representing all points of views? And so we think that in the days leading up to the election, it is very, very imperative to remind Ghanaians again of the need to be tempered in how they consume information, of the need to be tempered in what information they allow themselves to share, to click on share, to retweet, on the need to be mindful of what kinds of information they create. Because as I have said, in the era we are living in, because the power has been taken from the traditional media when it comes to gatekeeping, we've all become creators of content. We've all become sharers of content, and we are also consumers of content. And so the object of this campaign, being this last week of the election, is to just draw a bit more awareness to the need for us all to be a bit more careful with the information we're consuming and what we're doing with it, knowing that not all of it will be true.
All right, let me also bring into the conversation Fidelis Cessna, who's faculty member, Department of Communications Studies at the University of Ghana. Fidelis, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining in on this conversation. So how is it going to play out? I mean, how do people figure things out?
So I don't know if my head of department, good morning to you and good morning to your listeners. I don't know if my head of department has already addressed it, but we are rolling out a campaign which is primarily made up of videos featuring prominent media personalities who are essentially giving voice to the messages we hope to carry to the young people and other relevant audiences. So telling people to be careful, to be circumspect during these times when a lot of information about political parties, personalities, manifestos, ideas, promises are flying around. And so just take a pause, for people to just take a pause and sometimes just do a few things to just check whether the information you are liking, commenting, engaging, and likely sharing to more people is actually true and will not cause harm to our public space and the democracy we are trying to build. So essentially, we have a number of key personalities: Bernard Avlem, Giovanni Caleb, we have Ifya Pokwa, we have Israel Laye, Aisha Ibrahim, and a number of prominent media personalities who are essentially giving voice to our message.
Okay, so I guess the Dr. Abena Yabu-Abenin, I guess the whole idea is pause, do a few checks before you share what you've received.
And a few more tips also, if I may take the opportunity to add. And so it's not just about the pausing, as you and that's the first step. It's a very important first step. But beyond the pausing, what do you do with the information you have received? And we are saying when you receive something, some information, be it political or anything, and that information immediately arouses your emotion to a point where you are just almost losing it. It may be so designed to incite you. Pause and check it out. If the information you're receiving seems too good to be true, again, you may need to take a second and check it out to see. I mean, yesterday, Fidelis had a beautiful example about, we wake up this morning and we hear that political party A has said when they come into power, they're buying every Ghanaian a car. As lovely as this promise would be, and we all wouldn't mind getting a car, you immediately would think, okay, that's just too good to be true. We are saying when you get those kinds of things in the information you're consuming, it's a welcome call to take a second and check it out. And check it out by verifying from, these days we have fact-checking organizations who are fact-checking politicians and other people and putting out the truth behind the claims they're making. Go to their websites and see what you can find. Check it out by going to other traditional media. So you saw this on somebody's timeline on Facebook. How about go to Joy News website or listen to what Joy News is immediately saying? If it is that big a story and it is likely that truthful, chances are that the traditional media would have taken it up also. And so when you go looking on the traditional media pages or websites and the story is not there, it's an indication that this may be a figment of somebody's imagination. Don't forget that the era we are living in, because people need different ways of pushing traffic to their websites, they're doing what we call clickbait. And so they put information out there, sometimes sensationalize it, but sometimes utter untruth, with the hope that once you see it, you will click on the link to go and find out more. It brings you to their website and they try to keep you there with more stories of the sort. And so we are saying the moment you get something that whips up your emotion too quickly, or you feel this is too good to be true, oh, this is ridiculous, it may be a chance to take a second, go check it out before you decide whether to like it, whether to share it. Because if it is fake news, its power rests with you sharing it. Fake news is not effective if it stays with the person who first posted it. It's because we all share it that it gains mileage and affects us all.
That's really, really important. Now, Fidelis, why is it important that we target young people with this campaign?
Very good question. Very good question, Mama V. So young people we know spend a lot of time online. And so we are even categorized as was digital natives. So because we spend so much time, previously prior to the explosion of and advancement of digital media, the primary sources of socializations, the agents which influence our beliefs, our attitudes, our knowledge, the way we thought and felt about things were families, our educational systems. But now it isn't the case. It is the digital media, it is the traditional media. And because we spend so much time on these things, these agents tend to influence what we think. And in fact, because we are dealing with elections, they tend to influence our decisions, our voting decisions. So because of all of these, and also because as young people, we are a little more susceptible to So when you look at the research around fake news and misinformation, certain groups of people tend to be a bit more vulnerable, and young people are a key group, a key demographic of those group of people who tend to be vulnerable. And because, again, we are thinking forward, these are the people who are going to be the future leaders. These are people, we are the ones who are going to be, God willing, living 50, 60, 70 years to come. So we get these ethos imbibed in the young people at this stage. Hopefully, it is something that they can carry forward throughout their whole life, both offline and online. So that is one of the key reasons we are targeting the young people. And also target and hopefully inculcating a healthy skepticism in them, for them to know that not everything you see online is true, and that as both as sharers and as creators, we do have key responsibilities we owe to both ourselves and the audiences or the people who follow us online and offline.
Great. Well, I'd like to say thank you so much for your time, and it's really important what you're doing. So we appreciate your contribution to having a peaceful election on December 7th. Thank you very much, Head of Department of Communication Studies, Dr. Abena Yeboah-Benin. We appreciate your time. And then also to you, Fidelis Cessna, faculty member, Department of Communications, also with the University of Ghana. Thank you, guys. All right, coming up next, we've got show business, but here's something that I want to remind you of that Dr. Yeboah-Benin says. Fake news is powerless if it stays on your phone. Make sure you cross-check before you share. We've got show business coming up. Caddy is up next.